What is up, aka Padders? Welcome to the 31 Days of Dread, and if you're new here, this is where we do one horror movie a day for the entire month of October, and I'm your boy, I'm your host, I am Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad, AKAPAD, sometimes even AKADaddy, and today, right here, right now, we're talking werewolves. We're moving into a werewolf block, day 11. We're talking dog soldiers, and tomorrow, because we again blocks, if you're not following me, it's The Howling. Now these are two movies I haven't seen until I embarked on this journey, so let's hit that intro and let's talk werewolves. Welcome back. So much of this, so much of the 31 Days of Dread for me is kind of like bucket list movies. And last year, I did the Universal horror movies, and I went deep into this. Now I'm talking like the 1940 black and white features, and Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein. The year before, already going back to 2017, I did Dracula. And these movies have always been on my list. And I just remember when the Van Helsing movie came out with Hugh Jackman, there was like a big resurgence for those films. And even then, I just couldn't get into it. So like the 31 Days of Dread just propelled me to, look, it's 9 to 5. Like, like you have to have that 9 to 5 approach when you're making content. But it just created that need. And, boom, like filled it, took some movies off my bucket list and found something completely new. Like, those movies still blew me away, because they're so freaking old, but so much is true, and they are still pretty much scary. I mean, look, you got, when you watch some of these old movies, you have to contextually put yourself into the era that they were made, and take away some of the jadedness. What and why are we talking about this? Well, like last year, it was The Devil's Candy. That was a bucket list movie for me. Chopping Mall, bucket list movie. Like, do you guys see the trend here? Do you follow? The Witch. I never finished watching The Witch until last year. The Witch is one of the flat out best horror movies in recent years. So we're talking dog soldiers, and we're talking Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall is pretty much one of the most legit filmmakers out there today. And last year, for day 13 of the 31 Days of Dread, I did the Descent 2, which was mostly a discussion of Descent 1. Because Descent 2 just doesn't know what to do with that concept. It's a straight-to-video sequel. What do you expect? But the movie still had some highlights. Neil Marshall directed The Descent. That movie, still to this day, is one of the best, like claustrophobic, cavernous. Again, just like yesterday's movie, The Slender Man. It's an all-female horror movie. And the girls kind of kick butt and they solve problems. And in the Descent, they're just really physical. And that movie also, too, has a hot Asian that comes back in the second one. But that's probably the best part of the second movie. The hot Asian girl comes back. So what am I doing here? Right? This Dog Soldiers movie, I remember when it came out. And it kind of hit, I was working at the comic shop. And I remember, like, you would just hear things, and it was a foreign movie, and at the comic shop we did business with some bootleggers, so the movie came right to us. It was this movie and an Australian movie called Undead, which was kind of like a cowboy fantasy zombie movie before everything became zombies. So this movie was, like, it was on my radar for a long time, and everyone said it was good. But if you watch this movie for 5 minutes, you're like, what the hell? This movie sucks. This movie was shot in someone's backyard. Now, this is very much like yesterday's movie, like The Slender Man, that opens rough. And in the first 15 minutes of that movie, none of the actresses are hitting their lines. There's no beat. There's no flow to the dialogue. It seems forced. This movie has a disgustingly predictable, dumb opening. And then it begins. And when it begins, it's not a werewolf movie. This is a movie about a bunch of dudes stuck in the jungle. These are tough guys, and they are being hunted one by one. Now, if you ever heard of this movie, it's also called Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, because these two movies, they have a symmetry. They have the same plot. But this is one of the fantastic aspects about horror movies, is the plot it means nothing. It's meaningless. It's what you do with it. It's what you do inside the lines. This movie doesn't attack any werewolf mythology. It doesn't spin the werewolves. The only thing to worry about is it's a family of werewolves. That's all. That's all. And they're hungry. And these guys are in the wrong place at the wrong time. This movie, there's so much stacked in favor of good filmmaking here. You know, like, it's hard to imagine Neil Marshall not going on and making better movies. And when it comes to horror, you know, we have guys like John Carpenter, like David Cronenberg, you know, what's his name, that just did Midsommar and Hereditary. I forget that dude's name. That guy, okay? Where they become almost like a weaver of that genre. Neil Marshall, because we can't talk about any Neil Marshall movie without discussing Neil Marshall. And let's just go through what this guy's done. So we have 1998. Just looks like he wrote this movie called, I'm just going off of Wikipedia here, called Killing Time. Never seen it. Do I want to see it? I do, but, you know. 2002, Dog Soldiers. 3 years later, we have The Descent. 2008, we have Doomsday. Now, this is a long forgotten post-utopian movie, or a dystopian movie. This is one of the coolest apocalypse movies ever made. That's a very small category to dominate also. 2018, we have Centurion. That's a good movie, people. 2015, we have Tales of Halloween. He directed a segment. And then 2019, we have a disaster. We have the Hellboy update, remake, reboot. $50 million. Box office, $40 million. That movie lost $10 million. And if you were to sit someone down, like a producer, and say, look, we have the guy that brought us Dog Soldiers and The Descent. He's directed nearly in one episode in every major TV show, you know, in the last 8 years. That's right, Neil Marshall actually dominated television for a while. I'm talking Game of Thrones, Black Sails, Constantine, Hannibal, Westworld, Lost in Space. Season 2 for Lost in Space right now on Netflix is getting hyped. That might be the only thing that Netflix has going for it right now. And it's not enough. Netflix is going to have a mass migration of people leaving Netflix and going into Disney Plus. It's going to happen. Disney stock is roughly at 120. I recommend to buy. So if we were to sit a producer down and we tell this guy, look, we have Neil Marshall. He has directed different actors, different budgets, different time frames. He's cross-platformed his interest, meaning apocalypse, killing dogs, killer dogs, the Roman Empire. You know, like he's done things. He's vast. He's used his time wisely, and he gets films done on time. And you said, look, we have this thing. We have the rights of Hellboy. We're going to go very hard. It's going to be rated R. We got this dude from Stranger Things starring in it. Like, let's go. It's easy to predict that Hellboy would be awesome. And then something happened while that movie was coming out. You kind of found out that people really don't care about Hellboy. Leading into Hellboy 2019, Hellboy has had 2 movies. Barely got that second movie made. That's Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. And then he's had maybe 3 animated features. And it's just one of those things where you hear, like, everyone loves Hellboy. Like, these are the geeks talking. This is the vocal minority talking. It's not true. Hellboy is strictly existing and important within comic shops, period. Hellboy doesn't have any crossover appeal. People pay the price and they learn it. They lost $10 million learning that lesson, probably more. And now we have a great filmmaker, kind of, lack of a better term, he's got his dick in the wind, just flapping, and it sucks. Because Neil Marshall is good enough. Neil Marshall put enough into Dog Soldiers. And, look, for sequels, they wanted it to be a trilogy, TV show. Like, all these things have been attempted with Dog Soldiers. And Dog Soldiers simply is the mashup of military and werewolves. Now, probably my biggest criticism of this movie is the design of the werewolves. It's not hot, people. We're talking maybe like a shaved version, just a shaved version from the neck down of the Van Helsing werewolf. Because, I will still back. You guys can say what you want about Van Helsing, but the werewolf design in that movie is one of the absolute best, absolute original, absolute fun. It hits it on the nose. So, this movie's available. It's on Amazon Prime. If you can bear the first couple minutes of a tent murder and a obvious setup of a silver letter opener, that was foreshadowing. We foreshadowed the ending of this movie in the first 5 minutes, which is, that's screenwriting there. You give a lot of credit for Neil for that. If you can muscle through that, you have yourself one of the best horror movies of 2002. Maybe the best werewolf movie ever. Because the werewolf, different than Wolfman, the Wolfman is different than the werewolf. They're 2 different creatures. This potentially could be the best werewolf movie of all time. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to be watching The Howling. That's said to be the best. So we're going to measure up. And then what are we doing after that, boys and girls? Well, we have something special. We got foreign pissed woman, pissed chick foreign movies. Okay, let me rephrase that. The next block after werewolves is going to be foreign movies with girls that kill and are bloody. So whatever that is, I'm not sure what genre that is, but it's going to be high tension and martyrs. And those movies, you gotta watch them, because I can't wait to talk to you about those ones too. But look, everyone, it's, hey, did I even update it? Hey. I was going through some of the analytics. Thank you, Australia. I think we're spiking a little bit there. So cool. Thank you. Shout out there. It's late Friday. Busy day. Didn't sleep much. Worked out though. Tried the new Natter Day, the Natty Light seltzers. Very happy with both flavors. But yeah, I'm just about dead here. So it's publishing this, probably eating ice cream, probably putting on Howling, and then gearing up for tomorrow. But hey, everyone, rock and roll until day 12 of the 31 Days of Dread, which is the Howling. I love you, and goodbye.